Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my reading series of Who Moved My Cheese. I previously put out episodes 1 and 2, so if you would like to catch up, you can. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Thank you guys for joining me. So, we're going to continue where we left off. So, we left off on him suggesting that him and Ha just stay there and sit there until the cheese returns. Hall wanted to believe that, and so they both waited, but still no cheese appeared. By now, the little people were growing weak from hunger and stress. Hall was getting tired of just waiting for their situation to improve. He began to see that the longer they stayed in their cheeseless station, the worse off they would be. Hall knew they were losing their edge. Finally, one day, Ha began laughing at himself. Ha, look at us. We keep doing the same things over and over again and wonder why things don't get better. If this wasn't so ridiculous, it would be even funnier. Ha did not like the idea of having to run through the maze again because he knew he would get lost and have no idea where he would find any cheese. But he had to laugh at his folly when he saw what his fear was doing to him. He asked him, "Where did we put our running shoes?" It took a long time to find them because they had put everything away when they found their cheese at Cheese Station C, thinking they wouldn't be needing them anymore. As Him saw his friend getting into his running gear, he said, "You're not really going into the maze again, are you? Why don't you just wait here with me until they put the cheese back?" "Because you just don't get it," Ha said. "I didn't want to see it either, but now I realize they're never going to put yesterday's cheese back. It's time to find new cheese." Him argued, "But what if there's no cheese out there? Or even if there is, what if you don't find it?" "I don't know," Ha said. He had asked himself those same questions too many times and felt the fears again that kept him where he was. He asked himself, "Where am I more likely to find cheese, here or in the maze?" He painted a picture in his mind. He saw himself venturing out into the maze with a smile on his face. While this picture surprised him, it made him feel good. He saw himself getting lost now and then in the maze, but felt confident he would eventually find new cheese out there and all the good things that came with it. He gathered his courage. Then he used his imagination to paint the most believable picture he could, with the most realistic details of him finding and enjoying the taste of new cheese. He saw himself eating Swiss cheese with holes in it, bright orange cheddar and American cheeses, Italian mozzarella, and wonderfully soft French Camembert cheese, and then he heard him say something and realized they were still at Cheese Station C. Ha said, "Sometimes, Him, things change and they are never the same again. This looks like one of those times. That's life. Life moves on, and so should we." Ha looked at his emaciated companion and tried to talk sense into him, but Him's fear had turned into anger and he wouldn't listen. Ha didn't mean to be rude to his friend, but he had to laugh at how silly they both looked. As Ha prepared to leave, he started to feel more alive, knowing that he was finally able to laugh at himself, let go, and move on. Ha laughed and announced, "It's maze time." Him didn't laugh and he didn't respond. Ha picked up a small, sharp rock and wrote a serious thought on the wall for Him to think about. As was his custom, Ha even drew a picture of cheese around it, hoping it would help him to smile, lighten up, and go after new cheese, but Him didn't want to see it. It read, "If you do not change, you can become extinct." Then Ha stuck his head out and peered anxiously into the maze. He thought about how he'd gotten himself into this cheeseless situation. He had believed that there may not be any cheese in the maze or he may not find it. Such fearful beliefs were immobilizing and killing him. Ha smiled. He knew Him was wondering, "Who moved my cheese?" But Ha was wondering, "Why didn't I get up and move with the cheese sooner?" As he started out into the maze, Ha looked back to where he had come from and felt its comfort. He could feel himself being drawn back into familiar territory, even though he hadn't found cheese there for some time. Ha became more anxious and wondered if he really wanted to go out into the maze. He wrote a saying on the wall ahead of him and stared at it for some time. He wrote, "What would you do if you weren't afraid?" He thought about it. He knew sometimes some fear can be good. When you are afraid things are going to get worse if you don't do something, it can prompt you into action. But it is not good when you are so afraid that it keeps you from doing anything. He looked to his right, to the part of the maze where he had never been, and felt the fear. Then he took a deep breath, turned right into the maze, and jogged slowly into the unknown. As he tried to find his way, Hall worried at first that he might have waited too long in Cheese Station C. He hadn't any cheese for so long that he was now weak. It took him longer and was more painful than usual to get through the maze. He decided that if he ever got a chance again, he would get out his comfort zone and adapt to change sooner. It would make things easier. Then Hall smiled a weak smile as he thought, better late than never. During the next several days, Hall found a little cheese here and there, but nothing that lasted very long. He had hoped to find enough cheese to take some back to him and encourage him to come out into the maze. But Hall didn't feel confident enough yet. He had to admit he found it confusing in the maze. Things seemed to have changed since the last time he was out here. Just when he thought he was getting ahead, he would get lost in the corridors. It seemed his progress was 2 steps forward and 1 step backward. It was a challenge, but he had to admit that being back in the maze hunting for cheese wasn't nearly as bad as he feared it might be. As time went on, he began to wonder if it was realistic for him to expect to find new cheese. He wondered if he had bitten off more than he could chew. Then he laughed, realizing that he had nothing to chew on at the moment. Whenever he started to get discouraged, he reminded himself that what he was doing, as uncomfortable as it was at the moment, was in reality much better than staying in the cheeseless station. He was taking control rather than simply letting things happen to him. Then he reminded himself if Sniff and Scurry could move on, so could he. Later, as Hall looked back on things, he realized that the cheese at Cheese Station C had not just disappeared overnight as he had once believed. The amount of cheese that had been there toward the end had been getting smaller, and what was left had grown old. It didn't taste as good. Mold may even have begun to grow on the old cheese, although he hadn't noticed it. He had to admit, however, if he had wanted to, he probably could have seen what was coming, but he didn't. Hall now realized that the change probably would not have taken him by surprise if he had been watching what was happening all along and if he anticipated change. Maybe that's what Sniff and Scurry had been doing. He decided he would stay more alert from now on. He would expect change to happen and look for it. He would trust his basic instincts and sense when change was going to occur and be ready to adapt to it. He stopped for a rest and wrote on the wall of the maze, "Smell the cheese often so you know when it's getting old." Thank you guys for joining me on this episode of Who Moved My Cheese. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something. Don't forget to share your thoughts and your comments in the comments. All right. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and